So we're here at the Webster in Miami. I couldn't be more excited to be sitting here with Carlos Huber, who has launched a pretty interesting unisex. What would you call? Is it a pocket theory? It's scent capsules?
It's a fragrance line, but it's experience focused. I was always interested in perfumes that tell stories, so this was my attempt to do something very connected to my own career as an architect and historic preservationist.
So, do you find a similarity between the process of creating something on a sketchboard and creating a scent?
Yeah, I think it's very similar in a lot of different levels. I definitely think that I'm very holistic in like the experience part of it. I've always had a sensibility for scent, for how a space sounds, feels, smells, what the entire moment feels like. I think that's also very important in architecture. It's not only how it looks and how it photographs, but how it actually you understand the space in 3 dimensions. And scent is sort of like the 4th dimension in that sense. You know, from architecture and designing, how do you translate that into scent? It's very similar because we're talking about structure in both cases. You're talking about choosing something that you want to highlight or focus on.
Then you have the mechanics of it, the science of it,
yes.
right? And then you have the instinct. And so, you know, there are 2 parts.
Which is why you have to work with perfumers and with noses. I'm not a perfumer myself. I don't have sort of like the education to call myself a perfumer. So what we did was I had, like you say, maybe the instinct or the direction, and designing the concept around it, designing what the story was, and that's why you do need those 2 parts. Same as another creative process when you need sort of like to consult with the experts in the other area.
How do you feel in terms of the importance of scent in seduction and solidifying friendships, relationships?
Oh, I mean, it's super important. When you meet somebody and there's something that you might not even notice what it is. You like them, you don't like them, and sometimes it has to do with scent. And I think for seduction it's important because for me it's about impression. Seduction is about impression and emotion. And the warmth of the skin, what it exudes, all those things are something that attracts us to other people. Well, that's why I wanted to make it personal fragrance and not just, for example, like a home scent or a home candle. Because I wanted the experience to really be on the skin, you know, like on an intimate level. Definitely, when you put it on, you become another ingredient in the composition. It's something that is actually really beautiful about scent, that it can actually change us and change itself when it's on us, you know? So in seduction, it's you're not only smelling the perfume, you're smelling the perfume on that person. So
that's interesting.
It's not just, oh, she smells of this and, you know, whatever. No, what attracted you to the person is still the person in a way, you know?
How did you come up with the name for this?
The name comes from archiste, comes from architecture, artistry, archives, history, of course. I wanted the concepts and the sort of like the core of what brought me to create this to be part of the name of the brand and to be involved in every part of the development.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think that if ever you're following, you know, purpose in life, you know, whenever you're doing something born of purpose, and it seems to me like it's really authentic where you're coming from, then you're definitely on the right path.
Yeah, I didn't want to do something that was just like marketing driven. I really came into fragrance because I love fragrance and because I wanted to sort of like satisfy my own question of could you recreate a long distant moment in time through something like scent. The part that actually convinced me more than anything, when we were working on one of the scents, and it's called Floricanto, it means flower and song. It's based in Mexico and it's based on Mexican flowers. And when I first smelled it in the lab with the perfumers, it was really strange because knowing the whole story about the Aztecs and everything was interesting, but the first thing that came to my mind was it smells like home.
Oh, wow.
Why? Because my mother always buys tuberoses when they're in season, and she has them in a vase in the hall in the house in Mexico City. So I thought that connection was really interesting, and I thought that is worth exploring and that's worth sharing. And if I, who had thought I had nothing to do with like this moment with the Aztecs, found something, then maybe you can find something with the Russian story, and you never know.
That's fantastic. And so I know that it's going to be a huge hit, and thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us today. And we can't wait to learn more about it, and as you expand and as you grow, we'll be right there with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Pleasure. Thank you. We'll be right back.